And there we go again.
Live.
So here we are, live and direct from the office. Happy days.
In the office,
so,
yeah. On a cold, wet day.
On a cold, wet Wednesday. What more? What else could we be doing, eh? So yeah, we've for anybody that's watching this, Lee and I thought we'd just kill some time and talk about all things NABBA and the final NABBA show of the season, which was the UK last weekend, and the universe, I suppose, because we haven't had a catch up about that since. So yeah, if you bothered to watch this, we apologise. It is literally two blokes chatting bodybuilding and all things included. So we'll see how it turns out. How was it for you, mate?
What, the UK?
Yeah,
I thought the UK was great. Paul always runs a good show. So when we arrived, it was set up ideal for us. There was space for us to sit. We could shoot without heads in the shots. So it was brilliant. And it was just, the whole day seemed to work well. It wasn't the busiest of shows, but we're still kind of, I think we're still seeing the aftermath of COVID. And, some of the classes were really big and some were surprisingly small. But I still think it's going to improve.
I think it sort of sums up the whole this year in general. There've been some massive shows, and then the majority of shows that are normally big, what we call good big regional shows like the UK, in England and such. Just numbers have been just on the low side, but that's been across the board. I think we've across every federation, be it natural or fitness or bodybuilding or a mix of everything. We work with a lot of different federations and different people, and the message has been pretty much the same, and it's been consistent. But that didn't stop it being another excellent show. Paul does run some of the best, and has done for years. They're always the ones that stick out. Some of my favourites, just because again we've got a great team in there, haven't we? Yeah, everybody knows. We all know each other. Everybody knows what they're doing to a degree, and it generally runs seamlessly. Athlete experience is always good. The pictures are always good. It's a cracking venue. For us, it's a bit like being at home. It's like we've used that venue now. God, how many years?
It's a few years since Castleford. Well, before COVID, I think.
It must be 2014, because I was up there when it was it's in 2014 doing the UK, not the UK, the Yorkshire Open when Paul was up. Yeah,
they did the British Classic there. The Open Yorkshire was always at Castleford, and the NABBA North East was done at Castleford. But then over COVID, the venue sort of it changed its role, and they weren't hosting any kind of shows at all. I think they were doing sort of vaccines or whatever. So Paul had to move venue, and Pudsey was what he used for the British Classic in 2015, I think, maybe it's 14. And it does work, It all seems to be. It seems pretty good, if I'm honest. The cafe area is great for everyone visiting. They can actually, people can actually get something to eat and drink. And I was working away, and I could smell what smelled like pie and peas, and I was like, wow, they're getting spoiled back there. But yeah, it is a nice venue, and it's not too bad to get to. Parking is decent, which that makes a big difference, I think, when you get into venues, whether you can actually park or not.
I suppose there's tiny little things that you don't really give any thought to, especially if you're competing. You just tip up, don't you? But when you go into these things all the time, as we do, it's like, these things do make a huge difference. It's easy parking. You're not having to walk about. If you've got a tan on, you're not getting it wet and all that other stuff that goes with that. Straight in the venue, you don't come out to 1 million parking tickets, as happened, and it doesn't cost the earth. I think we had this discussion with some friends of ours that run another federation, one of the fitness federations, and when you're looking at obviously attracting more athletes, it's nice to have it in, I suppose, what we call a prestigious area, or somewhere that's nice to visit, like York. But then with that comes extremely high costs of hotel costs. Getting there, parking's always a nightmare. I'm from York myself, and we know how bad it is. And that does have an impact on whether an athlete can get there and make it feasible. So the thing with Leeds, that particular one, just seems to have it's out there on the Outring Road at Pudsey. You have easy access to Bradford. Hotels don't cost the earth, and like you say, the venue's well set up. Decent sized stage, decent sized audience. Anyway, we like it.
Well, I don't know if you can. Did you go to the Universe when it was in Birmingham, 2018-ish?
No, I didn't. No,
it was at the big, massive place right in the centre of Birmingham. And don't get me wrong, it did look nice from one point of view, but it was difficult. You didn't have the atmosphere. The people were just scattered so far apart. There was no atmosphere leading up to the show unless you were in the show auditorium. Parking in Birmingham was just the worst. I think it would cost, I don't know what I parked in a multi-story about 5-minute walk from the venue, and it was silly. It was silly money, really. And then at that time, the Universe finished at sort of 10, half 10. So you were trying to get out of Birmingham at night time. And I just, it was almost the worst experience ever. Never mind if you'd competed or whatever, you know. So I always judge how good somewhere is by easy access. And I've got a thing about parking. I like to be able to park real quick, not walk too far, and not pay sort of £12 or £15 to park. So I think it makes a big difference.
Wait, does. Which one was that in Birmingham? Was it the one right in the centre next to the Hilton? It's the Crescent, should I say? Yeah, the Crescent Theatre. That was the one. WNBF had their finals there. We've done a couple of shows there this year.
It was
great venue.
It was the symphonics. It was known for its sort of acoustics, and symphony orchestras that played there. It was absolutely massive. The first year, the second year was a bit smaller, but it's still the same venue. USN paid towards it or for it, and it in a way it looked all right, but the venue was hard work. You know what I mean? There were nowhere to sit near up front to get pictures, so we were sort of midway at the back. I mean, it wasn't a pleasure to work at, and I don't think many people enjoyed the experience there, even though it was really fancy. And then, because people used to love Southport, but it was hit and miss whether the lighting worked. The venue was getting different. I think they were charging more. I like Southport. It was been a nice place to visit. It's like going back in time to a theatre, but I liked it.
It was it's again that one that we talk about all the time, but yeah, Southport was like, it's got some heritage, hasn't it? Especially with bodybuilding. That was right. We get it booked in now, so we get on at the start of the season. Whoever was competing, and it'd be like, well, let's book. So we've got the dates. Let's book the B&Bs now. So we've already halfway there, aren't we? But see, we say, I mean, we were taking a Bradford. Is it St George's Hall? I'm sure
St George's Hall, yeah.
I mean, that's a phenomenal building. What a fantastic looking place. And the Victoria, it's obviously we split stuff up there, but it was well looked after. We stayed there last weekend as well, 2 weekends on the trot at the Victoria, and cracking place to stay. But we're talking about hotels and parking, not really talking about shows, are we?
Oh, yeah.
I suppose we should talk about that. UK wise, what should we? Who was your standout in the UK?
I don't know, but I do have a folder full of images of all the winners. So maybe let's look at those and we can discuss them. If I So this is me being an absolute novice with a computer. So watch this. You'll love this. So, hang on, it wants me to allow it. Come on. Okay, I'm assuming we can. Can you see that?
I can't.
Oh, what's it doing? It's hang on. My Mac's just been a bit of a pain. You.
Right, I've done that. I don't think I'd let you share all screens. It's all done now. We should be able to do it.
It's my my security settings.
It
wants permission.
It's because it's a Mac.
Yeah. I didn't even know I'd need to do this. So what I was planning on doing is showing everyone the winners and just discussing who was sort of great. So let's do this. See, professionals would have had this done before.
To be fair, mate, I rang you about half an hour ago. Should we jump on this and just record it? So yes, it's completely off the cuff, but it'll fill in an hour for us, won't it? And it'll give us a bit of content to throw out there.
Absolutely.
Here we go.
Can't even get system preference to unlock at minute.
It's just there.
Froze.
So
you just tell us stuff, Phil.
Yeah. I thought we'd ignore that. There we go. There's one for you.
Hang on.
That's mine. Do you want me to stop sharing it now?
All right. Why can't I do that? All right, here we go. Unreal. It wants me to give permission to Firefox.
Right.
Quit and reopen later.
Professional podcast.
All I'm trying to do is share a Finder. Do you know what I mean? That's all I want to do is just share this Finder folder. So why is it doing that? Right.
There you are. Look at this.
Here we go. So I'm assuming you can all see this.
Well, yeah, I can see that, my old pal.
Right. So let's start with our teen winner. It was good to see a teen in the show. Is that showing up all right?
You need to double click on it.
Oh, I've got to double click on it. It won't do the preview, will it? Right. Okay.
No.
Let's see if it'll do that then. Well, that's not even come up, has it? No. Right. I'm gonna have to do this a different way. Stop presenting. Present entire screen. This is going to be easier. You can just see everything then.
Go for it.
So I'm assuming, yeah. So if I just click on the team, has that showed up big now?
There we go.
Yeah, right. So this is Tanashi Nazara. He were our teen for the show.
Yeah.
So it's very rare we get teens at the minute, so it's good to see the up and coming bodybuilders getting in the show.
Definitely. We've not seen that many this year. Not. I had a couple at the national shows at the WMBF. 15 and 16 they were. Both very good. But yeah, it's important, isn't it, to see guys, young guys, getting up there, giving it a go, getting a feel for it. You know, I think the sooner you feel ready to jump on that stage and sort of get that one under your belt, the better, because it's always a learning experience. Every show you do, every last bit of it. So it takes some guts. it does take some guts to do it. 100% fair play to him. He looks good as well, doesn't he?
He does,
How
actually.
old was he now?
He's under 18.
Yeah, says a lot, doesn't it? Under 18s.
So next up is first timers. Well, I thought straight away would have benefited by being in a different class because he's actually, or it'd have been better if he had a full first timers class to compete against because he was shredded. His name's Daniel Bond.
Daniel Bond, yeah.
And he was in good shape.
How many was in that class? Because we know how many, Lee?
2.
So was that it? You see, I was still working. I was still upstairs getting some of the guys stand up, finished off. But Daniel just he looked phenomenal. From St Helens, isn't he? If I remember rightly. And he is trains in a gym that's owned by one of Sarah's best friends, fellas, Big Chris. Anyway, enough of that. Paul Sutton trains in the same gym as well, bizarrely. But yeah, no, what a cracking physique. I mean, as a first timer, super lovely lad.
Good poser as well.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see his routine because I was still upstairs at this point. But he, I did when I asked him when I was what class he doing, it's like first time. I was like, oh, okay. And this is what we sort of expect with a NABBA show. You get athletes this good turn up for a first timers.
Yeah.
It's usually one of the biggest classes of the day, and there's some usual absolute freaks in there that it's like, where have you been for the last 20 years? Did you live under a rock, just train your entire time and eat constantly, and then decide to come and do it? I first he's like, what? I think Danny definitely still epitomizes that. He was in great shape.
Definitely.
We'd done his tan and sent him out one of the base tans. You couldn't get there on the Saturday. On Friday night. So we'd done his base tan with our new base tan solution. And he come in, he says, does it look all right? I said, well, have you washed it off? He went, yeah, it says so on the bottle, and that's my fault. Because the bottles, the first bottles say wash it off, you don't wash it off. But he still had a real good base tan anyway, it just come up beautifully on him. But anyway, there we go.
Well, that's Stephen Marriott, who we would have been competing against had he have done the novice class. And Stephen was absolutely shredded.
Absolutely, yeah. That would have been a good bit of competition there because they're both very good athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah, super. Look at that novice class condition. It's a shame Matt Cooper wasn't there because Matt had been planning to do the UK right away since the Britain. He was like, that's what I'm going to do. Done that. He'd obviously gone and done FitX and qualified in their finals, and then ended up with bit ill, who wasn't particularly good, and he's just he had to just change his plans and decided not to bother, just to come back next year. But he would have been that would have been another good one up there.
Definitely.
Anyway,
Masters over 45, Matthew Hughes.
Mr. Hughes. Well, Matt, do you know what? He looked good at the uni, didn't he? He's one of the nicest guys you'll come across. He really is a super guy. Phenomenal shape and physique. Tan spot on there. He's and then we're seeing him again this weekend. He's been thorough this year. He's done a lot of shows and walked away with a lot of trophies, and rightly so. He's got a real nice, good, balanced physique there, a lot of maturity there. But he's always one of them people out backstage, and he's always very positive. He's always very encouraging.
Yeah.
Him and his miss and Amanda, his missus, she was competing on the day as well, and just nice, just another lovely couple in bodybuilding. It's great to see.
Yeah,
was that over 45s?
Over 45, yeah.
Then we've got Gary.
Sorry,
Gary Chappell comes second in that one.
He did.
He looked good.
We've got Jeff Lathwaite over 55. Brilliant for over 55.
Brilliant.
Unreal.
Again.
People are proper defying age at the moment. It
Seems to be,
me,
doesn't it? Yeah. Some of the guys we're seeing in these over 55s, over 45s, nearly my category. We give it another year. Do look phenomenal. I think the over 45s have been, well, some of the best classes we've seen, especially on an NABBA stage. Yeah. They've been the biggest, the best. Clearly, you know yourself when you're our age. Like it's you'd like to think you've learned a few things along the way, and these guys are bringing that experience. And again, there with the over 55s, what a good shape for that.
Yep.
Credit to them.
Well, next we've got Joe Harton, who's the Sports Physique Open class, trains at Ebor Fitness in York.
He does indeed, does our Joey.
Good stage presentation, I thought.
Very good.
I remembered him from the Universe as well. He did great at the Universe. But yeah, he's got that good present. That's what the class is about, though. Really, yeah, you've got to be in shape. Yeah, you've got to look good, but you've also got to present it in that flamboyant style, I guess you could say. So yeah, he nailed it.
Confidence. He's another cracking lad, Joe. He's probably the most laid back of anybody backstage or pre. He's like, I'm here. I'm going to turn up. I'm going to win, and that be it. That seems to be his attitude. But again, cracking lad. He's great in that men's physique, sports physique class. He really does epitomise it. He was, another good physique.
Then you look at the over 45 version of the sports show, well, sports physique now.
Yeah,
and it's like he'd have done well in the open class.
It's what's Michael's surname? I'm forgetting.
It's Michael McGuinness.
Michael McGuinness again. Another good quality bodybuilder there.
Over 45. It's like, you know,
yeah,
he'd look good in classic class or, you know, most really. He's in brilliant shape.
Again, another cracking guy. Really, just always full of. We've had some really good guys in it, even though the athlete pools is small. Everyone's been really good fun, really up for it, and
absolutely
competitive. Yeah, respectful. That's what you want. But yeah, he was another one, just stood out, didn't he?
Yeah. This is Lisa Kappa, toned figure.
Yeah.
I think she competed at the weekend. I saw some pictures. No, she did the NABBA UK, but I think she did another show as well. I think she's done loads actually.
There was I think it was the NAC the day after, and then there was the PCA Hull as well. So there was a few bits going on. So there was a lot of people that had done the UK, and then we're going to go and do one of those two. So
the Universe as well. So she's done well.
Done good. Look fantastic again.
Absolutely super. Bikini Open was Ashley Jackson.
Yeah.
Mass Body was cheering on for her. She did great. She was the one thing we noticed was that she seemed polished head to toe. Shape, skin, presentation, everything. Which you know, that's great.
What you want to see in a bikini class, isn't it? That's what it should look like.
Yeah. Well, then you've got the. Actually, this is the bikini over 35. You know, that was a good lineup though. To be honest, I think there's only 2 or 3 in it, but the other girl was at the NABBA England, and she was really good. I forgot her name now. There's some sheets somewhere. Worth a mention. So we get all this. I get all this bump, so I know who's who when they're ordering. I get the sheets. I mean, Val's good enough to make sure I get these, but I need Brian's for this. No, the DJs actually.
I think it's fair to say we all know who does the organisation in our house when it comes to getting athletes where they need to be for their the base coats, and on the day it clearly isn't me. It's Mrs. Kane, and without Sarah, none of us would be there on time. Nothing to get done.
No,
it should, and we'd run over. So thanks to her, we're all right.
Well, this shows how organised I am. I can't even find a single sheet with what I want on it. Forget it. So leave that one. Who got next? That was Anna Stupienko. And next we've got Athletic. Now we've seen Kirsty, God knows how many shows, haven't we? Kirsty Duffield. She also won the ladies overall.
Yeah.
She's done really well in the last few weeks. I'm going to show a picture of the overall because I wasn't sure which way it was going to go, to be honest. Let me just get that up. Don't do that to me. Come on. So this is the overall shot of everybody. And Kirsten won the overall, but I really thought the train figure, Linda Bennett, was smashing it that day. Not taking anything away from Kirsty at all, obviously. But Linda Bennett has been doing really well recently. I just thought she had that polished, amazing stage presence.
I wouldn't disagree with you, Lee. I mean, everybody studying an overall deserves to be there.
Absolutely. Linda was great. And I was told her age the other day, and I'm not going to repeat it online, but I was absolutely shocked. Puts us all to shame. So, massive well done, considering that.
Yeah. Right. And again, a really nice shape, great condition.
Really good routine.
Nice proportions, spot on.
Yeah. Phenomenal stage presence and posing.
Yeah. Always smiling.
Yeah. Classic. Bloody hell. This, get your glass. This is, where is it? Shredded. He was posing and he just snapped his back into shape and it all just rippled from top to bottom. And I was like, wow. Do you know what I mean?
He has to be. Palman's, well, I mean, he's won a lot this year, and fair enough. Yeah, he's an absolutely phenomenal bodybuilder, a phenomenal example of what I think classic is and should look like. He does. You just look him in. His condition is on another level, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's what's he won this year? He won the Brit. He won the Brit. He come second in the universe. Obviously won at the weekend in Classic. I think he would have been close for the overall as well as he always is. He's just this insane conditioning that he just brings. That's just, well, you can't help but be mesmerised by it. I said to him, we're all there. I think there's the last group of us in. It was me, Gary, Palman. I think Joe might have still been there at that point. I was like, right, come on. What's the secret of the conditioning, Palman? He went, Phil, I can't tell you the secret until I retire. I was like, fair enough. But he's, a just phenomenal classic. And he went on and won again at Hull. He won his class there and he went to the PCA the next day. He's done extremely well with that. And a very, very, very humble, just a really humble guy. He's a really nice bloke to be around. He travels everywhere by bus as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lives.
I want to try and find another picture of him. These are unedited, these shots, but it doesn't matter because he's so sharp. He's that back.
His back's sensational. When you look at the universe, the top three at the universe in Classic, the French lad he was French, whose name escapes me, who was just bigger in Classic because of the height weight ratio. Palman obviously come in second, and then Andrew Chappell, who was in third. Both Andrew and Palman, just the conditioning that they come with is unbelievable. That back, and it's just feathering and striations everywhere. There you go.
He just really is phenomenal. Ticks every box and nailed it. Brilliant.
80 kilos.
Mad. Class 3 is next up, and that is Jonathan Smith.
Yeah.
Dreamtime.
You spotted Samilo. He's all right there, don't he?
Well, he's shredded. He's all right.
He's a deserved winner there.
I mean, the side of the trophies, though, they're almost like above the knee, for God's sake. Paul really does smash it with these trophies.
This again, I think there's a lot of people just come to try and get a go at winning one of them. Here we are.
Class 2, Tim.
So
Rosiak. I always say it wrong, I think.
I'll let you pronounce it because I'm
going to say Rosiak.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. He was phenomenal at the England. He was phenomenal at the Universe, and again, spot on. I mean, he's another absolutely top lad.
Yeah.
No, he's a judge as well, isn't he? So he's a NABBA judge.
He was also the overall men's winner on the day.
Yeah.
So took the overall, and it was a good overall.
Well, you think, right? I think as we're on Class 2 winners, I think bring up the whole of Class 2 because that was the biggest class of the day. Yeah. It was great to see a Misters class as full and with so many unreal physiques. I mean, when we're saying the quality, this could have been any finals anywhere at any point. There was the athletes in it, and the quality of a bodybuilder up there was, would have put any final.
I'll show you. Can't seem to find anything today.
So because we've
see all my crap on my desktop. So I'll show you the Class 2. So this is the Class 2, ready for the quarter turns.
Yeah.
That was an immense class, universe quality class.
Absolutely.
Just unreal. I'm going to give them a mention while they're there. So number 1, you've got Josh Roberts.
Yeah.
He might not have turned up. Number 2, Hirsch Hassan Rashid, who was also at the universe. Really good lad.
Yeah.
Very good bodybuilder.
He's
number
a very good
Tim Rosiak.
Yeah.
Number 4, Daniel Pierce, Ultraflex Gym. Number 6, Jack Richardson. Number 7, Daniel J. Smith, really good bodybuilder. And number 8, Adam Foster. There's a number 9 there. I think that was Jonathan. Number 9 was an addition. It's great that I ain't got it on my list though, so I'm sorry to that.
But just again, if you look at that, so Hirsch was obviously at the Universe. Smashed it at the Universe. Oh, he come in. I think he come in 3rd. He did. So he come behind Tim at the Universe in 3rd. Again, great bodybuilder, superb legs.
Yeah,
awesome legs. Another lovely lad there. If you've got in there, you've got Danny Smith in there. Daniel's condition wasn't where he normally would be, but he's had a long season. He's still those proportions and everything.
I've seen him before take, win overalls at shows. He's normally bang on.
This
is Class 1, the only guy, and it is Vajunas Staxis,
or as we know him, Striker.
I'm sorry if I got it wrong, but Class 1 on his own, but did look really good. It's a shame. It's like I can remember Class 1 having loads of people in it, like Carl Stannard and all those kind of fellas. And it used to be a battle. People were like, right, these big boys are on stage, and it's like now there's one.
It's the Class 1 was always Class 1 in it. You can name multiple NABBA Class 1 winners, the guys that stand out in your mind, right throughout the days, right from Eddie all the way through, So it's one of those classes where you expect to see the bodybuilding monsters as we've got. But it was, in fairness to Striker, he looked mint. He was, obviously won at the England.
Yeah,
he'd done the Battle of Bedford the day before, GPO show. And then come to the England, done that, won, beat Gareth, the Gareth went on to do the uni the following week and won the uni in Class 1 and got his NABBA Pro. Striker didn't feel he was up for it. He says he didn't feel that he was good enough to get up there and do that, whatever. He was. I think he's just gone a fair way this year. And then I think he'd rung his coach, Matt Adams, who's another friend of ours, and said, "Look, I fancy doing the UK. What do you reckon?" Well, I was only a few days away, and he said to me backstage, he says, "Phil," he said, "after the England, I put 15 kilos on within about a week."
Wow.
It's probably not a lot on a huge frame like that, but he was still gone. So he's a unit. He's a massive unit. He's again, real well-balanced proportions as a Class 1. Massively deserved to be up there. Massively deserved the win, regardless of a lack of competition. Was definitely in the mix for the overall, whatever way you looked at it. But yeah, he was always good enough, and I've been intrigued to see what he comes back with next year, because he's got a game plan, and I think he'll be a force.
I think you're right. I just want to give Paul's trophies a mention. I think they deserve a mention. They're just unreal. Brilliant trophies. He always spends a fortune on them, which is why it's important to have good show sponsors, class sponsors that contributes. That's where the money goes. It doesn't go in his pocket. It goes towards trophies. It's just crazy. Overall trophies. Best supported gym award trophy, loads of medals. Great.
There's no denying they're the best in the business. Obviously, we know Paul puts a lot of time and a lot of attention and a lot of pride into getting these right and making, because he wants anybody stepping on the North East UK stages with him, that they've got a good marker of that experience. He puts a lot into the design with Fox, and they're absolutely unreal. Every single one of those, every single one of the trophies, but the first places were exceptional. Everybody would be proud to have one of them sat behind them on a mantelpiece or wherever they get stuff. And I thought the medals with the swords were a nice touch as well. He threw them in at the last minute, he was saying.
Yeah.
But just makes it worthwhile, makes the hard work worthwhile when you're walking away with that in your hand.
All down, they're made by Fox Mouldings Limited.
Yeah.
They do a brilliant job of those. So our overall winners side by side. And the overall lineup, which I showed a minute ago, but I'll show again. I mean, what a pack!
Just look at size of striker there, like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, he's right to the side of the frame, so the wide angle is probably making him look a bit bigger, but he really is that big. You know what I mean? Iron Eagle posing trunks presented that trophy.
Did they? Oh, of course it was, yeah.
Iron Eagle, yeah. Louise, she presented that trophy. She sponsored the class, and she ended up presenting that class because there was a mix-up. So, brilliant. And that, in a nutshell, is the NABBA show, which was great. Get rid of that sharing thing now. So, yeah. So, but now the planning's in place for 2023. We've already put out the promo poster for the NABBA North East. And so that's out there. Stuart Garrington's the main sponsor, and Paul's looking for a few more class sponsors. There is already some class sponsors because there's some people who just do it all the time. So yeah, he's looking for a few more.
It all contributes. It all makes a difference. You know, if you're not talking huge amounts of money, I don't know what Paul starts with, but it does. It makes a difference to what the show is, what gets put on. You know, those trophies don't come cheap. Neither do venues. And I know all the backstage staff with Jen and Val. everybody putting the time in and they're courteous enough and gracious enough to do it for nothing, you know.
Yeah.
These shows do cost money, and you know we want to make sure that they're still putting on the best in the business. So yeah, if anybody fancies it, get in touch with Mr. Jeffries.
Well,
I'm sure
Paul
he'd be
does like to, yeah, Paul does like to give as much as he can for that sponsorship package as well. It's like, yes, they get a logo on the poster, which gets, there's a physical poster and there's the digital poster. They get some seats at the show, so they can come to the show. They get to present a trophy on stage. They get a mention. We give them mentions leading up to the show, because we do that. I tag them in the posts on Facebook and Instagram. Things like this, they get mentioned. And they've been mentioned again after the show. So there's a few times where they get mentioned, and obviously some people have shared the posts. So 2 or 3 last time shared it, World Fitness Gym and that gets them seen again and again. So some shows you sponsor a class and you get a bit of a logo and that's it. You know, if people aren't there, no one sees it. Paul does like to make sure they get seen, and we try and help with that, don't we? By, you know, yourself and I, we do share posts, mention people, do everything we can.
There's a lot more focus into making sure that our digital offerings better and across the board. So we share as much as we can, get as much coverage for everybody, because it's you know, it all helps us in business. Well, and it is the I mean, I can only really talk from personal experience, but it doesn't do us any harm. I can tell you that for nothing, especially with really bringing muscle tan through our own. Sarah had muscle tan for years, but it was under the sort of the parent company name Black Magic, and I know a lot of people know it as Black Magic, but it was the muscle tan product, and really re-establishing that as what it is in bodybuilding to separate the two from the professional ranges. It's helped massively, you know, having the banners out there and athletes photographing stuff like that, and all the posts that get put out with NABBA, the other federations, which just have helped establish that connection and that brand name, and people's trust it, which is most important for us. So yeah, it's been worth everything that we've done, every penny we've spent, every hour, with all the work we've put in, because we've met some phenomenal people with it. And we love it, don't we? We're fucking sad. We just love bodybuilding. It's just a bit weird, but we still do.
Yeah, we do. There's things that need to change, but I think that's what we're working on, and NABBA are trying. You know, people are having input, and that's something that we're going to be doing in a couple of weeks, aren't we? We're going to do another one of these, but we're going to involve some other people who have got fresher minds, I guess, and the younger outlook as well. Because our outputs, obviously, we've been there, done it, but it's nice to see people who are still just coming up there, up the ranks and things, their opinions and thoughts. All this has got to matter at the end of the day, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, I think that the whole plan has always been, as you know, us doing these things, just us chatting about whatever show we've been at, I suppose. But yeah, we've athlete interviews, getting the guys on that we compete in, getting the promoters on, you know, getting Mr. Jeffries on here so you can see his side of the equation. And just making sure that what we're putting out there is, one, interesting or more interesting than what we're recording, and that it's got value for competitors. I think I want to get some NABBA legends done as well, you know, and get people like, I'll go for Mr. Garrington on there, and to mention Dan or Eddie or whatever, and just because that's that. I think from an athlete point of view, if you're looking to compete on that stage, who's better to tell you than the guys that have been up there, and especially if they've been winning this year, last year, years before. You want to hear their experience and why being part or competing within this federation is important to them, and what it means. I think I think the state of British bodybuilding right now is pretty good. I think when we look at the standards of athletes that are out there, the competitions that are out there, I think in the main, I think there's a lot of good things happening, but it really hit home at the universe and chatting to the guys in the groups, in our groups anyway, because we always, when we do with anyone who's getting tan barriers, we have a group, a WhatsApp group, guys who do know less, and we get a good bit of banter going. And I had to just remind some of them that this is the universe stage. It really doesn't get much bigger than this as an amateur bodybuilder. So just being there and being on that stage, being in that, is a massive achievement, because there's not many guys get to do that. So you have to really give yourself a pat on the back and, you know, appreciate how well you've done.
Well, if you look back, Phil, like, and I'm going back a few decades now, it was the Olympia or the universe, wasn't it? It was EFBB, NABBA. That they were the two, you know what I mean? And then everything else has grown around it. So, like you've just said, the nail on the head. Do people realize it's the universe? And I could tell some people didn't really realize where they were and what they'd achieved as such, or it might not have sunk in at that time. I don't know, but yeah, you're right.
It was definite. It was 100%. That's what the case was, I think, for some of the lads. And I had very direct conversations about that. I'm like, you stood on you've literally just come off the universe stage, right? You're one of the best in the world right now in amateur bodybuilding, and you don't think that's an achievement? Stop being so hard on yourself. You know,
exactly.
With
big deal,
massive. Again, massive.
This is what we need to change for next year, Phil, and make it. There needs to be like a big fanfare for this stuff. I can remember, I don't know if you went, but some friends of mine, they did the Worlds, and they went to Italy or somewhere like that, and there was a parade through the street for the NABBA Worlds. You know, it was a party time. And then you go to the NABBA Worlds somewhere else, in one of our representatives or something, and there's not as much of a, like, you know, they don't make as big a deal of it. And that's what it needs a bit more of a, like, this is amazing. Come on, you know what I mean?
I think that comes, I suppose, I can't make excuses, but rationale for where this, having come off the back of the few years that we've all had, and then re-establishing everything, getting everything going again, momentum, especially because we were 2 years off, really, didn't we, with NABBA?
Yeah.
You know, it's the first universe in 3 years. So,
yeah. I'm not saying we need to trade through the streets, by the way, because that's not quite how we all work. But it was an example of how precious they wanted it to be. And people who went there felt special. You know what I mean? The point is, people need to feel special, a part of something big. That's what's going to come from it.
I don't disagree, you know. I think, again, if we draw on personal experience, the community within the whole that I've experienced, we've been at a lot of the NABBA shows this year and getting to know everybody better internally. The importance, the sense of family, the importance of bodybuilding, of what they represent, what the legacy. But it's not just about being legacy; it's about, you know, setting new standards to continue to be seen as the best. You know, the stage that athletes want to stand on. And I know there's a big drive for everybody involved to make sure that it's back on its perch like it should be.
Yeah, totally agree.
And again, it's not that I'm saying it's fallen far by. It's just when you've got a bit of a layoff of time, it takes a bit of coming back and just getting people to remember just why the best athletes stand on that stage, and that's not being taken away from anything else anybody else has done. You know, you look at them, the guys with the PCA and the athletes on there are great, and you want to see them on everything. You know, they want to be able to do both, in my opinion. And that's good for bodybuilding when you've got multiple opportunities to do what you want. If your allegiance is live with one federation or another, then good for you. You know, if that's what you're happy doing. But if think if we go back and look at where things were less than 10 years ago, where it was frowned upon when you were wanting to do one show or another show because it was with a federation. Well,
bad that really.
It doesn't really help anybody in the sport. I mean, I suppose you could argue. It's an argument. If you're there at the top level and you're competing every week and you're going out doing worlds or universities and everything, then maybe you maybe stick with the one thing. But if you're an athlete up and coming and finding your feet, then you should be able to do as many federations, as many shows as you want, whoever you want with, and clearly that's what we can do now. That freedom's there. So I think we're in a good place.
I do as well. Yeah, it's been good.
Anyway, we've managed to do another 55 minutes of us waffling and talking dribble.
I doubt people watch it that long anyway.
I don't.
I hope they do though.
Talking about car parks, our kids, so people have probably turned off at that point. If you haven't, thanks for watching. We will bring out some. We've got some more stuff planned, especially now. The seasons. Is that it for you, mate? Have you done? There's no more shows for you to photograph.
I'm done with the bodybuilding shows. Still got some weddings to do. A few gym shoots to do.
Yeah.
I was this week. I've done a gym shoot in World Fitness Doncaster with Rebecca, who competed at the weekend. Yesterday was at Performance PT Gym in Lincoln with Gemma. So yeah, it's good. It's good. But I'm having a break soon. So. But show-wise, I'm done till the northeast.
Super. Well, we've got one last one this weekend, and that'll be us done. Then, and I'll be glad that the season comes to a close because my knees can't take it no more. We'll continue to push this content out. It will hopefully continue to get more interesting and better with more interesting people on than us too. But we're having a go. So thanks for watching. And mate, well, if I don't speak to you, we'll get the other one in for the following week because you're away in Krakow next week. Enjoy.
Yeah.
And then we'll get the girls on, and I won't. Well, I might be, I might not. I might just let them do it because it's probably more interesting.
I don't know. I think we can all have a laugh and just talk. We'll let them do all the talking, you see.
Yeah, well, they'll be clearly far more interested. There's who's out? Sarah, obviously my wife Sarah. There's who else was on that one? I can't remember. Melissa, yeah. And there isn't somebody else. Either way, we'll get that done, and we'll do a proper job of that, not just us doing this. So if I go to this on that one, I'll catch up with you in a bit.
All right, Phil. Nice to see you, mate.